Hey, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, we have two more signs in the heavens to talk about. There's been a lot of that going on lately on the channel, but they just keep coming, and I had no idea about these two. One of them has to do with a mysterious radio signal that repeats every 18 minutes in 18 seconds. That's right, 18 minutes and 18 seconds. And then the second one, apparently the largest comet ever discovered, has been discovered, and it's on its way in um, from the outer solar system toward us. And so, why do I have President Nelson up on the screen? Well, it's because there's always new people joining the channel, and I always have to repeat this over and over again, which is fine. We've noticed since I've started doing this channel a couple numbers that seem to be associated with or be used by President Nelson, or I don't know really what's going on. Okay, so first of all, he is the 17th um, president of the church. And sorry, I have to lay this foundation because that will give you the context as to why the signal from space is interesting. So I'm sorry, we have to go through this. Okay, so 17th president of the church. In the April 2022 General Conference, there were a bunch of 17s that showed up. Almost purposely. I don't know. I don't know if he planned it out. I don't know if like the Lord is working through him and these numbers are just kind of manifesting because the Lord wants them to. I don't know. But his main talk of that general conference, as you can see right here, was 17 minutes and 17 seconds. During his last talk, he referenced a poem that he had given in a previous general conference talk 17 years before. Okay. And then later in a separate video, I realized I was pointed to the fact that he did another talk that was spaced 17 years apart. Basically kind of like parallel talks with similar names, mentioning the same things. Okay. I've already done a video about that. Okay, but in the April 2022 General Conference, the last talk, so he referenced that poem, and the talk was similar to one that he'd given 17 years ago. And then in that conference, he broke the record for the most temples announced by any one president of the church. And he completed 100 temples that he had announced by himself by announcing 17 new temples. Okay, 17. So he beat President Hinckley in terms of numbers of temples announced. Of course, it's not a competition, but it was just an interesting thing that happened. Okay, so enough with that. Okay, 17. A lot of 17s, they've popped up on the channel various times. And then the next general conference, guess what? We even had a couple people make predictions about how many temples were going to be announced in the October 2022 General Conference. Guess how many temples were announced? 18. Guess how long President Nelson's talk, his like main talk was of that General Conference? It was 18 minutes. Those 18 temples, they completed a total of 300 temples between all the various stages, whether already constructed, under construction, or simply announced. 300. So 17 to complete 100 of his temple announcements, and then 18 to complete 300 total for the entire church. And there was more, but I'm not going to do the exhaustive list of all the 17s and 18s. They don't really know what it means, don't know if it means anything. I've speculated that, well, you're going from like a 7 to an 8. A 7 represents completion, perfection. So does 10. So you add 10 and 7 together. And, symbolically, you have a number that kind of represents completion and perfection. But when you go from 7, which is the completion of a cycle, to an 8, you're starting up a new cycle. And it's my understanding that's essentially why the age of accountability is 8 years old. And before that, baby boys were circumcised at 8 days old, which that ultimately symbolized, the age of accountability later on, whenever. So, you get what I'm saying. And so we've thought about the fact that, well, this stage of Earth's existence, this time when it's in a telestial condition, it's coming to an end. When Christ comes, that's it. And we're moving on to a new phase, a new 1,000 year period. So maybe that it has something to do with this. I don't know. So anyway, okay, so I got an email from Dina Harding. She says, thought it was interesting timing for a pulse from an object, quote unquote, unlike anything ever seen. And then she gives me the link for this. And the title or the subject line says object from outer space pulsing every 18 minutes and 18 seconds. So that intrigued me. And I decided to look at the details. Now, this article that she sent is from February 2nd of this year, but I found a bunch of other articles that were from last year. So this one was from January of last year. This one also January of last year. This one too. And I don't know. So it's not something really new. I'm going to show you the dates, but let me just go through this. So an object that's unlike anything astronomers have ever seen is sending radio signals to Earth, repeating every 18.18 minutes. But I want to clarify, it is seconds. So 18 minutes, 18 seconds, like clockwork. Okay. According to Australian astronomers, a weird spinning object in the Milky Way has been identified that is unlike anything astronomers have ever seen. The object, which was first discovered by a university student working on his undergraduate thesis, emits a massive burst of radio waves 3 times each hour. The pulse occurs every 18 minutes, 18 seconds, like clockwork, quote unquote. Okay, we're going to go down. Discovering this object was, quote, kind of spooky for an astronomer, Walker said. She added, because there's nothing known in the sky that does that, end quote. The scientific community is now trying to figure out what they've discovered. They were able to establish a few facts after sorting through years of data. The object is around 4,000 light years from Earth, is extraordinarily bright, and has a very strong magnetic field. But there are still a lot of puzzles to solve. Hurley Walker said, quote, if you do all the mathematics, you find that they shouldn't have enough power to produce these kind of radio waves every 20 minutes. It just shouldn't be possible. But that's quite unusual as well. We only know of one white dwarf pulsar, and nothing is as great as this. Of course, it could be something that we've never even thought of. It could be some entirely new type of object, end quote. And then she continues, I was concerned that it was aliens. Hurley Walker admitted when asked if the powerful, steady radio signal from space could have been sent by another life form. So, very odd. Now, if you don't know what a pulsar is, actually, I don't fully know, but my understanding is that it's like a rotating star that I think it sends out. It has stuff shooting out from the poles, and because it rotates, when that signal hits Earth, it's like a pulsating type signal because it's rotating, if that makes sense. So, but anyway, they don't know what this is. They don't know. Okay, now on Vice, there's a couple more things here. A mysterious radio signal from space is repeating every 18 minutes and 18 seconds. Okay. A curious radio signal in space was spotted pulsing every 18 minutes and 18 seconds over a period of 3 months before it disappeared from view. Okay, so it was only going on for 3 months, so it's not going on anymore. It's stopped. Okay. Revealing, quote unquote, an unusual periodicity that has not been observed previously, reports a new study. Though the source of the signals is still unknown, the scientists who discovered it think those clockwork pulses may be the rotational signal of an exotic dead star, perhaps a white dwarf or a highly magnetized, quote unquote, magnetar. That sounds like a Napoleon Dynamite invention, like ligers and magnetars. um, okay, quote: the fact that it is repeating so regularly, the same rate to within 1/10,000th of a second over the 3 months it was visible, means it is quite likely to be a rotating object, said Natasha Hurley Walker, a radio astronomer at the International Center for Radio Astronomy Research, or ICRAR, who led the study in an email. So ICRAR's discovering magnetars. Okay, the team. Sorry, sorry for the cough. I have prescription medication for, well, it's for anxiety, but it doubles for um, allergies. So it's coming. It's coming. Don't worry. The team eventually tracked down 71 pulses in total, each lasting about 30 to 60 seconds and displaying that weird characteristic 18 minutes, 18 seconds period. Um, the radio source, which is known as Gleam-X J16275.95-5235043.4.3, was visible between January and March 2018, but the researchers haven't been able to pick it up in observations taken before or after that time span. Now, I'm going to stop here because this is a very interesting time for this to be happening. You know why? Well, I put it on my second coming timeline. Okay, here it is right here. And because it was an ongoing event that spanned about 3 months, I put it down under the event column, under column F. And between the beginning and the ending of this occurrence is when President Nelson became president of the church. Um, Unfortunately, I wish we had the days, okay, because I don't know what day in January it started. It'd be really interesting if it started maybe the day before President Monson passed away. But whatever the case, it's likely, or there's a good chance that it may have started before President Nelson became president of the church, and then it definitely ended after he became president of the church. So I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. And when we look at this comet in the second half of this video, there's another interesting thing about that and when that occurred. So anyway, and this makes me think about 1 year later in 2019, you had the star Betelgeuse, and I am pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Okay, you know what? Let's put this to rest. Some people are like, no, it's not pronounced Betelgeuse. There we go. Pronunciation. Betelgeuse. Oh, bam. I say bam. That's how you say it. It's and I will have you know, I heard somewhere a while ago that this was the inspiration for the character Beetlejuice. I'm not kidding. It's Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Don't worry, he didn't show up. So this was an interesting thing that happened a year later where Beetlejuice is like if when you're looking at Orion to the left, like your left as you're looking at Orion, it's the left shoulder, or if Orion was a person, it would be his right shoulder. It's that star, and mysteriously, it dimmed for a few months from November of 2019 until March of 2020. So I don't know. It just kind of reminded me of this. Just another astronomical event, a sign in the heavens that took place over a few months. It's weird. It's weird. Okay, so let's get back to the article. Um, quote, we did do some follow-up observations in 2021, but we haven't redetected the object, so it appears to be inactive at the moment, Hurley Walker said. But she continues, but hopefully there are other examples active in the Milky Way, and searches I'm planning this year will find them. Yep, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see, or maybe it was a one-time thing. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Who knows what it was? There's a few other articles here, like I showed you. I can't remember if I highlighted anything. I just wanted to show you that there's this story was basically um, with all the different newspapers and stuff, and media companies back last year, like in January and February. Okay, so now we're moving on. So thank you, Dina Harding. Thank you for sending that. And I have put that on the timeline, and I'll give you credit. I better do it right now before I forget. Okay, go over here. Credit, Dina Harding. Good job. Good job. All right, now let's move on to Dream Purple Queen 1. Now, I have an apology to make to Dream Purple Queen 1. She thought I was ignoring her comments, and I wasn't. And that goes not just for you, Dream Purple Queen 1, but just everybody. I know a lot of you are aware, and I keep saying it, I am just one person. And there are over almost 14,000 of you at this point. And you may not think that that's a much for like a YouTuber because maybe you watch other channels, but it really is a lot. I'm constantly getting emails and other communications from different sources, and I can't respond to everything, and I can't keep track of everything. I do my best, but it was not intentional for neither you, Dream Purple Queen 1, or anybody else. And I know some of you really you put together emails or whatever, and I wish I could do something about that, but I can't. At this point, I have over 1,000 emails that I have not been able to respond to. So don't feel bad. Don't take it personally. And I'm not intentionally. If I had the time, I would read every single one and respond to everyone and do it here on the channel. I would. I would do it. And I did do that in the very beginning. I actually did comments episodes where I would respond to each comment, but soon became impossible. And so anyway, thank you for reminding me, Dream Purple Queen 1, about what you were trying to say. She says in this comment, a giant planet-sized comet coming in from the Oort cloud. They actually do not know what to call this thing, so they are calling it a planet/comet. And then a ooh, oh, smiley or like emoji. Oh, so that is obviously interesting because the reason why we are interested in comets and planets is because that's how Joseph Smith describes the sign of the Son of Man. That when it comes to the Earth, when it's spotted, whatever, that um, those that are more secular, those that are wicked, those that you know like to explain things away, that's what they're going to do, and they're going to think that it's a comet or a planet or some other natural phenomenon. So this is interesting. Now look at this. Okay, I'm doing this in chronological order. June 24th, 2021. A newly discovered, almost dwarf planet will come surprisingly close in 2031. So, for those of you that think that the second coming is that far away, this might pique your interest. Okay, it's good to remember how little we know about the outer solar system. Humans only really began observing it within the past 100 years, and given the constraints on that observations, there are still plenty of things that we don't know about. For example, researchers recently found an object almost the size of a dwarf planet that is inbound to the inner solar system with an estimated orbital period of over 2 million years. more than six the lifetime of the modern human species. Uh, Referring to as a species, if you take our entire history, according to science. The object known as 2014 UN 271 Bernard Bernardinelli Bernstein was originally observed in 2014, but first noted on June 19th, 2021, by Pedro Ber- Bernardelli, and Gary Bernstein, and now has its own Wikipedia page. Okay. Um, so this was just like at first. This is pretty much all that they knew about it, but things developed from there. So this is universe today, June 24th, 2021. Now we're in October 14th, 2021. And now they're saying the biggest comet ever seen will get as close as Saturn in 2031. Okay, so at first, they were like, oh, it's almost the size of a dwarf planet. Okay, but now in October, they realize that it's a comet. It says here a mega comet, potentially the largest ever discovered, is heading from the Oort cloud towards our direction. Estimated to be 100 to 200 kilometers across, the unusual celestial wanderer will make its closest approach to the sun in 2031. However, the closest it will come to Earth is to the orbit of Saturn. Okay. Later on, it says, but within a day of the announcement of its discovery via the Minor Planet Center. So just think how at first they thought it was just like kind of like a something smaller than a minor planet. Astronomers using the Las Cumbres Observatory network took new images which revealed that it has grown a comma in the past 3 years. In that it was rapidly moving what? In that it was rapidly moving rapidly. Okay, that's great. Through the Oort cloud. The object was then officially classified as a comet. So you know what's interesting about this? Okay, so 2021. What was 3 years before that? It was 2018, the first year of President Nelson's presidency. Isn't that weird? Don't you think that's weird? Um, I do. All right, let's continue. They said studying the comet's orbit using astronomy, or sorry, astrometry, and quote unquote backwards integration suggests this is a pristine new comet, and its previous closest approach to the sun would would have about, this is a jacked up article, would have about 3.5 million years ago, only reaching about 18 astronomical units away. So you remember that this comet that came close to Earth February 2nd, just about a week ago, they were saying that it had an orbit of 50,000 years. So this one, they're saying, is millions of years, which is interesting because what I had said about the comet, the most recent one, is if it was the sign of the Son of Man, then if it's not really a comet, if it's something else, uh, then maybe it doesn't have an orbit. It just appears to, like them plugging in the numbers and assuming that it's a natural object. Then they would come to the conclusion, oh wow, well based on this and this speed and this angle, it has an orbit of whatever 3.5 million years. So anyway, that's maybe another reason to look at this, is because maybe it doesn't have an orbit. Maybe it's coming from somewhere, and maybe it's Christ. And we don't know. No, I'm not going to get into all that. Okay, let's see. Now look at this. They also said the comet appears to be displaying normal, quote unquote, simple sublimation, or sorry, sublimation thermodynamics of most comets, hence the spherical cow title for the paper, but they can't predict how much brighter or more active the comet might get as it gets closer to the sun. However, now look at this. However, a recent astronomer's telegram said that the object had brightened with a quote unquote outburst on September 14th from magnitude 20 to 18.9. So the lower that this number is, the brighter it is. Okay, the brighter it appears. So, in like, it doesn't really say, excuse me, what happened, what caused this. Um, it seems to have to do with the sublimation, and if I remember right, that's where essentially a solid goes directly from being a solid to a gas rather than going solid, liquid, and then gas. It just goes from one state of matter to another. So it's weird that it had this outburst, okay, this brightening outburst on September 14th. You know why? It's because if you go back to that year and we're looking at the Hebrew calendar, the 14th was during the 10 days of awe on the Hebrew calendar. The 10 days of awe are the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. These are the high holy days between the two of them, and the days in between are called the days of awe. So during this time, the tradition is that your name every year is either written in the book of life or the book of death, and it's written on Rosh Hashanah, the new year. And then if your name isn't in either, you're kind of like a middle person. You have these 10 days to get yourself in the book of life, because on Rosh Hashanah your name is written down, and then on Yom Kippur it's sealed. Okay, so this is a very holy time during the year. This entire 10-day period, and this is the period in which there was this, brightening, or this mysterious brightening of the largest comet ever discovered. It's weird. There's been a lot of things that have happened around these Jewish holy days. A lot. And I have them all down here. So when we come up here, so if you come to this, okay, to my spreadsheet, the link for it is in the description of every video, so you can access this anytime. You just can't change anything, but you can view it and you can copy stuff from it. But whenever there's something that happens, if it happens on a significant day, I put it in parentheses so that you know. Okay, so here's what we're talking about right here. C 2014 UN 271, largest comet ever discovered, and then outburst of brightness observed between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur on September 14th of that year. Okay, so it's strange. Currently, the comet, as at the time of this article, currently the comet is about as far away as Uranus, about 3 billion kilometers or 1.8 billion miles away, and has a magnitude of just under 20. Despite the comet's size, even at its closest approach 10 years from now, it is currently predicted that it won't be visible to the naked eye, and only the largest amateur telescopes will be able to see it. Before I had said I was pretty much only paying attention to comets that would be visible to the naked eye, but because of this unique comet, where first they classified it as something smaller than a dwarf planet, and then they classified it as a comet, and because of the outburst, and because it's the largest comet ever discovered, I'm going to take this as a sign and something that's unique. And obviously the timing is very unique. Here's like a comparison. Like here's the roughly how big the comet would be compared to other comets. Well, no, wait, that's Phobos right there. Phobos is a planet, or it's a moon. Let's see. Isn't it? Phobos. Yeah, Phobos is the larger of Mars' two moons. So Mars has 2 moons, and that's the larger of them. So this comet right here is bigger than Mars' largest moon. I don't know what these other things are. If these are asteroids, let's see, Pandora. Let's figure it out. Pandora asteroid. Is a fairly large and quite bright asteroid in the asteroid belt. Yeah, 55 Pandora. Yeah, yeah. So relative to these other objects, this comet is huge. It's huge. Here's another comparison. This is still Universe Today, but this is a more recent article. This is from April 2022. Comparison of comet nucleus. So here it is right here. According to this article, 85 miles. And then the next largest comet, 60 miles. You see that? And then look, here's, oh wait, no, this one's Hale-Bopp right here. Comet Hale-Bopp. Okay, Comet, or Hubble confirms Comet C 2014 UN 271 is an absolute unit, astronomically speaking. It's official. Comet C 2014 UN 271 has the largest nucleus ever seen in a comet. The gargantuan comet was discovered in the fall of 2021, and in January 2022, astronomers turned the Hubble Space Telescope to ascertain more details and determine the exact size. NASA said a team of scientists has now estimated the diameter is approximately 129 kilometers or 80 miles across, making it larger than the state of Rhode Island. Larger than the state of Rhode Island. That's crazy. The nucleus is about 50 times larger than other known comets. Its mass is estimated to be a staggering 50 trillion tons, 100,000 times greater than the mass of a typical comet, found much closer to the sun. Quote, this is an amazing object given how active it is when it's still so far from the sun, said Man-To Hoi of the Macau University of Science and Technology, Taipa Macau, lead author on a new paper on the comet. He or she continues, we guessed the comet might be pretty big, but we needed the best data to confirm this. So his team used Hubble to take 5 photos of the comet on January 8th, 2022. All right, there's a YouTube video there. Here's a couple of I think this is the picture. This is a computer model. And then this is like when they subtract the glow around the nucleus just to show the rough size of the size of the nucleus. Okay, the comet is moving in the direction toward the sun from the outer solar system at about 35,400 kilometers per hour or 22,000 miles per hour. But astronomers say, don't worry, it'll never get closer than 1.6 billion kilometers or 1 billion miles away from the sun, slightly farther than the distance of the planet Saturn. And that won't be until the year 2031. And still, only large telescopes will be able to see it. It likely won't be visible to the naked eye. Previously, the largest comet ever measured was C 2002 VQ94, with the nucleus estimated to be 60 miles across. It was discovered in 2002 by the Lincoln Near Earth Asteroid Research, or LINEAR, project. But there are probably more comets like this with origins from the edge of the solar system. Quote, this comet is literally the tip of the iceberg for many thousands of comets that are too faint to see in the more distant parts of the solar system, said David Jewett, professor of planetary science and astronomy at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, and co-author of the new study in the Astrophysical Journal Letters. Quote, we've always suspected this comet had to be big because it's so bright at such a large distance. Now we confirm it is, end quote. From this website, Telescope Live, they have a GIF animation. Here's the uh, basically the path that it's taking, just so you can kind of visualize. But here's like the inner solar system where Earth is right here. So it's not going to really come close to us. Unless it's the sign of the Son of Man, in which case it'll come directly to Earth. Astronomers finally figure out the size of the largest comet ever found, and it's twice as big as Rhode Island. You know what? I don't think I needed to. I think I highlighted this because this article, they reduced the size down to 74 miles with some updated data. So it's still, it's still pretty much the same size, but yeah. And then Hubble confirms mega comet bound for inner solar system is largest ever seen. Oh yeah, this was an interesting characteristic of it too. Don't know if it means anything, but the team compared their data with earlier observations made by the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array, or ALMA, like the Prophet ALMA, in Chile, and found that earlier size estimates made with ALMA aligned with the new Hubble findings. And ALMA's radio observations allow them to hone in on the object's reflectivity, showing that the comet's surface is darker than they expected. Quote, "It's big and it's blacker than coal," Jewett said. So that's another thing. It's black. It's blacker than coal. Make of that what you will. May not mean anything, but it's just weird. The thing that kind of pins it down for me is just the fact that it had that quote unquote outburst of brightness during the high holy days, or in between them. I don't know how these things, it's like it just keeps happening. All these signs in the heavens happening on significant days. There's a lot of them. But the radio signal thing every 18 minutes and 18 seconds, it's so weird that would happen as President Nelson is becoming president of the church. It's so weird. It's so weird. So, all right, well, I have them down now. So feel free to come to the spreadsheet anytime. Look at all these different things. I'm trying to just catalog as much as I can things that I think are signs of the times, or maybe applicable. Help us understand what's going on right now in the world and what's been happening. Yeah. And then lastly, just want to remind everybody that we're doing this Book of Mormon challenge, where you give out a Book of Mormon. Let me know in the comments or send me an email. Please make it short so I can quickly sort through your comments and not miss anybody. Because if it's like a long comment and then at the end you say, "Oh, and I shared a Book of Mormon," I may not see that. Because I can't read all the comments, especially when they're long. So far, we're at 4,158. The number of people that have reported that they've shared a Book of Mormon, only 325. Hopefully that can go way up because there's thousands of you. And then 11 reported people meeting with missionaries. So please, I would encourage you to do this. I'm doing it as well. Let's make this number go up. And let's try and not just watch for signs of the times, but actually help people prepare for the second coming and help them find the truth and find the gospel. And yeah. So, okay, well, that's going to be it for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.